Thank you for listening to The Pain of the Claim, your source for prescription strength claim relief. And now, your hosts, Jeremy and Donna Lavelle.
Hey, it's Jeremy with Remedy Claims Consulting, and this is your Pain of the Claim podcast, and we're delivering some prescription strength claim relief. Today, I have got a very special guest on with me. His name is Ryan Holliday. He is with iink. They're a new company that's out that is solving lots of problems when it comes to getting your money in a timely fashion. You can find his website at inkpay.com, but enough about me talking about it. Let's hear Ryan talk about it. Hey, Ryan, thanks for taking the time to come on with us.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Jeremy and Donna. Really appreciate everything you guys are doing for the industry and the opportunity to be on the show. So thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Hey, before we get into iink, tell us a little bit about your story and how you found yourself standing at the threshold of something that is absolutely amazing.
So I guess we're talking about the first time I climbed a roof.
Yeah, let's or the first time you fell off of one that taught you how to get out of it. So
No, well, to be honest, when I got into the roofing industry, I was scared of heights and never thought I'd be climbing around on the roofs. But here in Florida, there is definitely an opportunity within the roofing industry to make some good money, and so I separated my fear from my wallet and got up on that roof.
There you go. And how long did you spend in the roofing industry?
Several years, and part of that was obviously while we were building out iink, but that was where we had discovered, or I had discovered, the problem. I know plenty of restoration professionals that have been in the industry before me had experienced this pain point, and so my business partner Ken, who was a public adjuster and worked with me on some difficult claims, or worked with my customers rather on some difficult claims, he and I just shared the loathe of chasing the money. And so we sat down at the ale house one day for a beer and decided to come up with a better way to facilitate this claims payment process. And
I have got a very specific story that I may have shared with you in January when we had the opportunity to meet at the SRC summit. I was actually working with a roofer. It's actually before I became a PA, and a hurricane came through in the fall, and they approved the claim. Everything was approved. We went and put on the roof like in October or November of that year, and this is down in Florida. We put on the roof, and the mortgage company did not release the money until June. And we could not get paid. It was always one thing. They were switching over systems. They were changing the way that they were handling stuff. We don't have this document. We've got to have that document. And it's like, we would ask them, is this the last thing that you need? And they would go, oh yeah, that's it. That should be all. And you would sit on the phone and wait for it to come through their email. And I called them every day. And I'm telling you what, it took 9 months from the time that we put the roof on. Maybe my math's off there, 8 months. What's the difference really when you're waiting to get paid? And it was like $30,000. It was a ton of money. And so it's crazy that you guys have you've cured that problem. So, I mean, it's amazing. And we've used it. Remedy Claims right now is using it inside of our business. And Donna speaks to it. Donna, what's it like just processing those files?
So much easier because I don't have to worry about who's gonna, first of all, driving to get somebody to sign a check that's a pain in the ass.
It is.
Well, and we work in multiple states. And that's, and I know that there's a lot of public adjusters out there that work in multiple states. And the law here in Texas, I'm not going to speak for other states, but the law here in Texas, we don't get to have something like an escrow account. We can't do that. And to come in and essentially solve that shortfall in our business model, because the law won't allow us to do it, to solve that shortfall has become pivotal. So tell us a little bit, Ryan, help us out here. How did ink come to pass? I understand that y'all had some rubs, but tell me a little bit more about how it got off the launch pad, so to speak.
Sure. So we actually launched service originally in 2017. We started off just kind of as a TPA, handling the back and forth of that claim check and the documents in and out of the mortgage companies, so that you didn't have to do that, or the contractor didn't have to do that. And we knew that we had to work towards eliminating the check and becoming a payments company. So we integrated with Avidia Bank, and it was, that wasn't an easy journey either. We went through probably 8 or 9 months with another financial institution that we thought could be our banking partner. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do what we had asked to put together for us, and so that deal fell apart. But fortunately, we met Avidia Bank, and it was through the New England ACH organization, which is obviously out of New England, but we went to one of their conferences, met Bob Connery, who's the executive vice president and chief operating officer for Avidia Bank, and he just had a lot of knowledge about fintech and understood how there are a lot of applications out there and a lot of use cases where money needs to be moved in ways that are not traditional. And so, our CTO at the time, now our COO, Ryan Wetzel, and I, and Ken Lawler were there. We said, that's our guy. And we partnered with Avidia, and the rest was history. We got our banking integration. We can send, it's almost like remote deposit capture for very large checks, obviously multi-party checks. With what we've built, we can do checks up to 1.5 million, where, usually on your mobile app, you can only do a few thousand. But with us, you can do checks up to 1.5. And so our banking partner understands how this industry moves money, and we're excited to expand on those services and really provide lines of payment and financial services and some banking services that this industry, I think, desperately needs.
I have a question. What was it like when you went into the office and said, "Hey, I've got this idea"? Like, how did you pitch this thing?
Well, so Ken and I had the idea. We sat down. It was Sunday, September 11th, 2016.
Mhm.
We were in the Northeast Florida area, and for any weather buffs that know their hurricane history, that was the year of Hurricane Matthew, which happened, I believe, in October. It was the first hurricane to make landfall in Florida in, I believe, 9 years. Part of the reason I came to Florida to get into roofing, right? Be there after a storm, get rich. So we worked through that, that storm, but twice a week, Ken and I would get together and we go through the workflow. We do just a ton of research on, is there anybody else out there that's trying to solve for this? And we couldn't find anybody. And so after, putting the workflow together and figuring out, okay, here's what I think we're going to need, which ironically, 6 years ago, just under 6 years ago, we had estimated that we would need about $2.5 million to get where we are. And we, if anyone's following our press releases, we just announced, recently that we closed our seed round at 2.8. So we were pretty close on the amount that we needed to get where we need to go. We're of course going to need a lot more, but it really was validation from the industry and the feedback that we started getting from other folks, business colleagues, and customers, and just living this pain point day in and day out. So I think realizing that there wasn't a solution out there, and then pitching a couple of our close friends that were knowledgeable about the startup industry and knowledgeable about scaling companies and other successful entrepreneurs that we knew. They just said, we think this is a great idea, and we just kept going. And so, when it came down to it, we started raising money on convertible notes. We bootstrapped for several years, and then took on, our first significant chunk just last year, and it's been a rocket ship ever since.
Cool.
Wow, that is what a story. What a story. Now I know, excuse me. Now I know like fintech is kind of the sexy thing for a lot of the VCs to get into. I mean, did you reach out to VCs, or was it friends and family? Was it just contacts that you happen to have in the industry? How did you go about it?
So we have a very interesting cap table, and I think one that speaks volumes to what we're solving for, because it includes property attorneys, it includes public adjusters, it includes contractors. So we really went to folks within this industry that knew the problem, and they knew that we knew the industry, and they knew that what we were solving for would be big. And so that's how we kind of raised our angel round of funding, I guess you could say.
Sure.
And then that then transpired into not one, but we were fortunate enough to have 5 VCs on our cap table right now. So we have 5 VC firms that got together, with Motivate Venture Capital being the lead investor. And they've been highly supportive of everything that we're doing. And in fact, just recently told us that it was our best quarterly review meeting yet. And they are very excited for the future growth of the company.
Man, that is super encouraging. I can tell you just from my perspective. Okay, so this is just a customer testimonial. It's nothing other than that. I'm going to tell you, while the convenience is fantastic, the security is immeasurable. Yeah. And knowing that my money is cared for, and that I'm not going to have to deal with a disgruntled homeowner or a disgruntled contractor, because as you can imagine, as a public adjuster, we can only do so much. And while, it's a negotiation, and often, unfortunately, we are in a position where we have to settle for less than what we believe is owed, so, and we get
Contractually owed.
Yeah, what's actually owed.
What's contractually owed,
Yes.
Yeah.
You got it in writing, and all of a sudden, after your claim's approved, oh, well, did you really do the work? I mean, well, I don't know. Your claim's approved. Did I do the work?
Yeah.
I certainly can empathize with that.
So, and I mean, there's a lot of that there's a lot of concern, because, as it pertains to Google ratings and people being happy with you in an insurance claim, somebody's always mad. You know what I mean? There's somebody that has, for lack of a better term, lost, and I don't know how else to put it other than lost, or at least they feel that way. And one of our mantras around here at Remedy is that ego has no place in a claim. And you've got to really approach it like that. And it's hard to kind of keep your emotions out of it. And what Ink does for us is it really takes that anxiety completely and totally away. So if you're looking for, a prescription street claim relief, Ink is one of the things I suggest that I'm going to write that prescription to everybody right now. Go ahead and get Ink, because it's going to solve a lot of problems.
And a lot of people don't realize that, well, finally my money's here, but then, well, here comes the mortgage company. You've got to wait for them now.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't even know that that's going to be an issue. I didn't know that was an issue until we had to wait for a mortgage company.
Well, so
yeah.
I've got your website up right now, Ryan, and I'm just looking at it, and just kind of so that we can kind of help interpret this for some people that may be looking at it. You've got a couple of different rows here: business verification, free multi-party remote deposit, mortgage processing fee. You've got advanced funding, holdback, and max credit. Can you talk about those last 3, the advanced funding, holdback, and max credit?
Sure. So obviously, waiting for the mortgage company is no fun. And whenever they're on the check and we've verified that check, everybody signed off on it. If you'd like to not wait for the mortgage company, you can opt in for advanced funding, and you can have that money as a professional right now for 1.95%. So it's super affordable. And as part of that, as part of the, just security of the transaction, I guess, and understanding that the check still exists, in order for it to be full legal tender, the mortgage company has to sign it, right? And so we are setting it up for almost like a pre-deposit to the system where we're going to advance you those funds, but we do have a little bit of a holdback. And when the check comes back, the holdback is released, less the processing fee, of course.
So is it a bridge loan? Is that essentially what it is? Is it an actual bridge loan, or is it just kind of function that way? Or am I using the wrong word altogether?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, I guess you could call it a bridge loan. It's really more like a merchant advance. Again, we know that the receivable is being processed. We know it's just a matter of mail that the check goes off to the mortgage company. And we even control that because we provide you with a FedEx label and it's integrated to our system. So, now the good news is there are some mortgage companies that have started using our platform and signing digitally. You're going to see more this year, in fact, that are going to be adopting. I would expect that the rest of the dominoes will fall heavily next year once they see that it's working with several of the mortgage companies already. So that's good. And we don't have to mail the check off anymore. But for the ones where we do have to mail it off and we don't have a direct integration just yet, we track that. And when the check comes back, we just need a picture of that back of that check. Everybody else can sign digitally, right? Nobody has to run around unless, of course, it's a monitored claim. We'll talk about that in a moment. But for the majority of the checks, we just need the mortgage company's signature, and it's a wet signature. So
awesome. Well, I can tell you. So how do you seem to know how to circumvent circumvent's a bad word, but I mean, again, kind of like the story that I had where I constantly was on the phone with the mortgage company providing additional documentation. How is it that you seem to, and I'm not asking to give away any trade secrets here, but is there something special that you can do that we can't do, just out of curiosity?
The mortgage company whisperers.
Well, actually, I was previously had a background in third-party loss mitigation. So I worked directly with mortgage servicing companies after the crash of '08 and was helping folks out of foreclosure. So I know what it's like dealing with level one servicing departments at these companies. And unfortunately, the response and the level of service that you get at that level at the mortgage company is not the same as what you get at the executive level. It's really a lot of human error, and people, after, if you could imagine, record numbers of people going into foreclosure. I remember speaking with one of the managers that I worked with at Wells Fargo, and he was leaving the department. I was, oh man, sorry to see you go, Zach. He's like, I'm headed out to Kansas City, Missouri. We're training 600 new employees. So you're bringing 600 new people into the industry, into a crisis, to help with servicing these foreclosures who have no idea. And so they're just reading off a computer screen. And it's when you're dealing with banking at scale and managing these processes somewhat manually, that's what you have to do. And so same thing here. It's the same servicing departments and companies, and even the TPAs of the mortgage companies that are truly handling everything. But it's the same experience. So I was very familiar with that. And coming into the roofing industry, I was always the guy at our company that got to call the mortgage company when there was a problem, because I knew how to talk to them. Or, I knew not to take their word for it. I would always question them. And if they told me something I didn't want to hear, or something that I knew was incorrect, I knew the right way to, I guess, threaten them. But I'd be getting results out of that. And so I do have that experience, but at the end of the day, we've really just built a better mousetrap, and we understood that this can't be contractor or insured or insurance company or mortgage company centric. It's got to be all four legs of the table. And right. So we became that balancing piece in the middle, and we provide the mortgage companies with all the remittance that they need just in a much more automated fashion.
Gotcha.
Are you getting any response from homeowners?
Oh, 100%. We have homeowners that reach out to us all the time to use the service.
Mhm.
You know, we do also get pushback. I mean, you know, if I would say that if we aren't introduced, I guess at the beginning, sometimes it can be painful for insureds, especially if they've gone through the gauntlet getting this claim one, right? And then the check lands, it's got the mortgage company on it. And let's say, you know, you guys have, you know, since then, since this claim has started, you've partnered with iink and now you're iink verified and you're using the platform, and you got to go back and let your customer know, hey, by the way, we're working with iink for your check payment, your claim payment. And so even though it's a great thing for them, we're going to help make everybody's lives easier and get that check process. Sometimes, you know, having to do something new is, you know, kind of turns them off. So
We
do
put it
see
in our
that every
welcome
once in a
letter.
Yeah, no, and listen, that's the right thing to do is at the point of sale or at the when you're sitting down or having them sign that LOR, that's when you want to let them know, hey, by the way, we're an iink verified payments partner. And what that means for you is when your claim is approved, then if they're issuing a check and it's a multi-party check, we're going to have the fastest, most efficient and secure access to process your claim check on an FDIC and secure platform. So you know, use that as a leg up to other restoration professionals that may not be iink verified, because, you know, then you're just handing your check over to, well, of course, most PAs are licensed by the state, but in Texas, you know, you don't need a contractor's license. You might need to have your business registered, but you're just handing your money over to a roofer. Do you really know that roofer's got a legitimate bank account where they're going to get that check cashed? Well, with iink, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Well, I find it, I mean, we present it as a value added. You know what I mean? You no longer, you don't even have to worry about your mortgage company. I mean, because when I'm talking to people at signing, I was like, instead of even having to worry about your mortgage company, we will take care of that as well. And so we find in our efforts of managing claims, when we step in and say, we're going to manage the claim for you, we manage it all the way down to the money in your bank account. You know, and we oversee that and watch that. And I know contractors as referral or synergistic partners that we use, they're very happy that we use it because it protects their money too. You know what I mean? And everybody is getting the money as they're supposed to. And the homeowner literally doesn't have to worry about anything unless they just opt in to worry about everything. You know, and you have those that want to worry about everything. And basically what I do is I just take my hands off of it and let them worry. You know, because that's part of their process. That's how they handle it. That's how they reconcile it in their own head. So, you know, but we have found I am unaware of any pushback that we've had in operating this way. It's made it very easy. Can I tell you one quick testimonial?
Sure.
The check comes in. And this is the actual transaction with iink. Check comes in. The guy's getting on a plane to go to India. And I don't know about you, but it's really hard to get a signature from somebody who's on a plane to India.
That's for
You
sure.
know, I'm not, that is not a trip I'm going to make, but the money, I mean, we're talking about a sizable check of, you know, north of $20,000. And so that's a good sum of money that people are waiting on that money. And we don't have to go get a wet signature from them on this particular check. And he's able to do it while he's in transit. Now, he didn't, but he was able to. And that was the thing that I think is that made me just sort of go, okay, he's still going to check his email. At the end of the day, the guy lives in the United States of America, so he's going to check his email. And that's just part of it. And you guys are really good about the follow-up with the client, making sure that they're aware that there's something that needs their signature. There's a daily follow-up redundancy that's in that, I mean, is great. I mean, we didn't realize it. We were following up with them ourselves, you know, and not realizing that iink was,
and then the roofer was calling them too.
Follow up.
You guys are just delivering on great customer service. That's all. But no, I really appreciate that. And you know, we not that we certainly haven't had our challenges. Launching any application is going to have its challenges, I think. And you know, we're solving we have a really easy problem, right? It's easy to know that this is a problem, but it's a it's a complicated solution. And so, you know, our beta wasn't the greatest, but we've come so far, and it's really, you know, from feedback from customers like you guys to hear what's going right, and if anything needs to be improved, how can we make it better. I can tell you that the communications, it's great to hear that they are getting better, and so we are working over the next quarter viciously to improve them. I know we have some new features I think a lot of folks are going to be excited for coming out in the next couple months. One of which is our wallet feature. So you're going to see a transformation of the UI UX to look a little bit more like Venmo for restoration professionals. And you know, really thinking ahead towards what does this look like without an actual check, right? Because right now it's kind of like DocuSign for a multi-party check, if you can imagine.
Yeah.
But what happens when that check goes away? Your money's going to have to land somewhere, and it's going to land in your iink wallet. And so the wallet's going to be awesome. You know, P2P payments. I could go on and on about the cool features that we're going to have with that. I think everybody's going to be mind blown when they see it. But besides that, the communications I know are going to be improved dramatically. We've implemented text messaging and emails, but it's going to get very granular. Not only with the outbound messaging, but also with the in-app messaging and the notifications and reporting. So we're you know, I really again appreciate all of our customers that came with us along the beta launch journey and that have stuck with us. But super excited for what's to come for everybody.
I have just a quick question. If you feel like you want to talk about it, great. If you want to move on or want to roll your eyes, that's totally okay too. I was actually sitting in a presentation earlier today that had to do with cryptocurrency and the theory that the government is going to be going to a crypto format. Do you foresee that affecting what you do in any kind of way, or is it creeping into your industry at all, or into what iink would do?
Well, I mean, so I think one of the things about me and one of the great things about our team is, you know, we don't accept challenges the same way that a lot of folks do. And what I mean by that is we're already thinking ahead to how can we implement crypto within our wallet and allow our customer base to purchase crypto if they'd like. So, you know, we're going to be around for a very long time. There's not going to be an overnight adoption of digital payments out of the carrier. If there is, you know, I think we're the only way that it should be, excuse me, dispersed, because it's not just going from one bank to the next, right? It's how does that money move throughout the restoration ecosystem? How do multiple people get paid off of one payment? How do waterfall payments occur? How do we automate certain commissions or payments to either salespeople or vendors, material suppliers, so on and so forth? And that's what we're really solving for, besides just the movement of the funds out of the carrier. But we also have had conversations with carriers who have asked us if we were, you know, considering cryptocurrency. So we're kind of prepared for it. We don't see it as, you know, any sort of a threat. And I also don't, if you wanted my personal opinion, I don't think that the world is going to adopt crypto within the next 10 years. And hopefully I'll have been long gone from the company already.
Is there any other company out there that does that? You don't have to name a name if there are, but is there any other company that does what you guys do?
So not in our space. No, there's no other payments company. There are other companies that provide factoring, you know, and you know, funding. But, you know, much higher interest rates for, you know, for having that money now. I, you know, was just expressing that with Patrick Carr earlier today, and we were having a conversation about, you know, the options within the industry. And I really think that, you know, charging someone, you know, upwards of 10, 11% to have your money today. I mean, you can't live off of those emergency type financing situations.
Yeah, that's not
forever.
sustainable. Yeah, not as a solution. It's great for a ripcord, for an emergency ripcord, but it's not a sustainable business option. And I would agree with that wholeheartedly.
It's not. And so I know there are less expensive options, but even mathematically at 5%, what's your true net as a contractor? And then 5%, you maybe end up, giving up a third or 25% of your money. Just again, to have funds right now, it's not sustainable. And we are, we obviously coming from this industry and knowing challenges, we want to make it as affordable as possible. So we've thought ahead. We've thought ahead and have prepared for ways that we can deliver on services super inexpensively and make money on the back end. So that way it's a much more affordable upfront cost. So I would say that at scale, you're probably going to see our service become even more affordable than it already is.
Oh, wow. That is super encouraging. I'm a little confused as to how you make money now, but that's good news that it's going to cost us less.
we are, so we're going to be, truth be told, implementing some new fee structures, but I would say with regards to ways to move money around and advance funding, and especially once we launch our iink Visa debit card, we'll have more flexibility as to how we're making money and on interchange and things like that on the back end, so that we don't have to, maybe charge as much up front. I'm sure our investors don't want to hear me say that, but I think at the end of the day, to achieve scale within this industry, there are a lot of customers, I think, at the mid to large level companies that are certainly more crucial of their margins. And with that would come a lot more volume. So I'm the type of guy where I'd like to make, I'm happy to make a little less, but on a larger pie, so to speak. And I think if we want to achieve mass adoption and truly solve this problem where everybody can just, pay everybody within this industry easily, then it's going to be at a lower rate. So
yeah, do you want 50? Yeah, do you want 50% of a watermelon or 100% of a grape?
That's
so
right.
yeah, I
right.
totally get that.
That's
so
right.
You had mentioned something earlier about monitored claims. Go ahead and kind of tell us how you guys handle that and what the process with that looks like.
So monitored claims are certainly not a fan favorite, especially with public adjusters, because claims with an RCV over 40,000, or anytime the insured has delinquency in the mortgage, and now we're even seeing anytime they've modified their mortgage. So if they got a loan modification during the pandemic, they're even being considered higher risk scenarios, and they're monitoring those claims. And what a monitored claim is you're going to get that check, whether it's full settlement or ACV, it does not matter. You send it off to the mortgage company, and the mortgage company is going to issue a portion of that check back. And as you can imagine, the frustration of having, let's say, a $30,000 job, let's say it's just a roof, and the ACV check is, 18,000. The deductible is 2. So there's 10 grand in depreciation yet to come. You send that $20,000 or $18,000 check off to the mortgage company, and then send back, 4,500 of it. What's that roofer going to do with $4,500 of a $30,000 job? And so, monitored claims are, I think, even more frustrating, or further frustrating for public adjusters, because if it's a long build back time, and the mortgage company is issuing disbursements without the PA on that check, then you kind of lose control of that payment, unless you've already collected your fee from the insured. But how many times are they going to have 10 grand on a $100,000 claim, right?
Yeah.
And so we're working to solve that a couple different ways. One of which is, obviously working directly with the mortgage company so that we can provide a better platform for them to automate some of those requirements for the monitored claims. Part of that is the third-party inspection that we're working to eliminate. We can provide all the same and better data that their third-party inspectors can do, and we're, I don't want to say a fraction of cost because we've built it in, we can provide it for free. I know what they're paying for it and it's ridiculous. But that brings the, that time gap down to, from weeks down to, when the contractor's done and that disbursement can be released. So that's really the end goal. But in the interim, we are starting to offer advanced funding up to $100,000 RCV for jobs that are going to be done in 30 days or less. And so if there's a contractor involved, and let's say, just for example, you're a public adjuster, you've charged 10% fee on a $100,000 claim, and the contractor is ready to roll. It's a tile roof. He's got the tile in-house. They're going to build very quickly. I'm of course painting up probably a pretty euphoric picture right now for contractors. I know the supply chain issues, but if that were possible, and it may not be tile, it could be, whatever, it could be architectural, but just on a apartment complex, it's going to take 2 weeks, but they're going to get it done, right? The mortgage company is going to want to monitor that claim and issue disbursements, and the PAs may be left out of that $10,000 fee until everything's built back. But with iink, we can advance the funds on that check, so everybody can get the majority of their funds right away. No one's held up to the bureaucracy of the mortgage company. The job gets completed, and it's what everybody wants anyway. And so the process is a little bit different with how we coordinate the checks, but we don't want anybody slowing down based on the mortgage company's process. We want everybody paid and the repairs done as quickly as possible.
Well, it
So when
sounds
you-
to me like, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Ryan.
When
Go
you
ahead.
do an advance payment, who pays that fee? Does everybody pay that fee, or is it the person who's getting the most money, or how does that work?
So it's actually commensurate with the amount of money that you're receiving. So for example, if you were to pay the advance funding fee of 1.95%, which is for any non-monitored claim, by the way, monitored is going to be 2.95. So it's just a little bit more, but certainly worth it. That 1.95% or that percentage is respective of the amount of money that you're receiving. So if you were receiving $1,000 as a public adjuster fee, and it was 1.95% out of your portion, then it would be $19.50.
Oh.
And then the contractor, of course, would pay the 1.95% out of the portion that they're receiving if they've opted in for the advanced funding.
Mhm.
But one of the things that we've seen is that our customers want more flexibility in how those fees are paid. And so when we release our wallet feature, you'll have that flexibility to be able to assign the fee to one person or another. Or if you say, I got it this time, you can actually designate that through the process.
That is outstanding, man. What an incredible service that you guys are offering. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on today. I think that it was an outstanding, the information that you've got, just kind of how it all works behind the curtain, and you kind of peeled the curtain back for us so that we could see kind of the efforts that are going on. I mean, the process is complicated enough already. Like the claims process is already a headache. And as a public adjuster, one of the things that I seek to do is to take the load off of that. And the final piece to that puzzle was really the money and being able to manage the money and making sure people get their payments. And boy, you guys came in with a big number 12 on your chest, a cape on your back, and just rescued the day for that kind of thing. And I am absolutely thoroughly impressed, guys. If you want to know more about it, make sure you go to inkpay.com. And they've got all sorts of information on their website that you can take a look at. Feel free to message me. We look forward to your comments. I know Ryan's pretty easy to get a hold of. These guys at iink certainly want to step up your game and your ability to handle the money and how it goes. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please hit us up. We're always happy to do that. Ryan, thanks so much for coming on and spending some time with us. We really enjoyed it. Great information. And guys, this is some prescription strength claim relief right here. So I am very happy that you came on. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate your time today as well, and appreciate the kind words, and of course, customer testimonials. So please keep them coming. Let us know what we're doing right, what we can fix, and we'll keep building an awesome platform for the industry.
Awesome. Thanks, Ron. We appreciate it. And we'll see
Thank
you
you.
guys next time on the I forgot the name of my own show. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
Blue minds today. We blew minds.
Here we go. We'll see you next time on the Pain of the Claim, your prescription strength claim relief. We'll talk to you soon, guys. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Throw it all together, it's a woman.